Ya no como más. Mañana como ya más mi trabajo.
Hi, Erin. Hi, Benny.
Hi, Amy.
I'm glad this part
Hi.
worked. Hi, Benny.
Sorry, I was on mute.
No, that's okay. I didn't notice.
Okay.
If I put myself on mute, it's because I see somebody just tried to call me, but I'm not, I just noticed it. And so they stopped ringing. So if I put myself on mute, that means I'm going to answer the phone just in case somebody's having an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope.
And I'll keep looking at my, my email too.
Okay. You think there's a strong possibility our second applicant
Yes.
may not figure this out?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm also, I'll be honest with you, I think I said it in one of my emails, I'm nervous about the meeting continuing to work correctly too, because zoning and planning were having a hard time. But
Oh,
they told me
really?
it's, yeah, they told me it's been sorted out, but it was cutting them off at 40 minutes. Like our account wasn't the extended account like it should be, so.
Oh, wow. Okay. What did they do? Had to stop their
Uh,
meeting?
Yeah, they still had the meeting. I'm not sure what they did for planning, but when it was, I think, a one-stop meeting too, Naomi was still here, the planner, and somehow she kept restarting the meeting.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
It's been it was an issue, but I've been told it's okay, so.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the free account that you don't have to pay for. It
Yeah.
comes off after 40 minutes.
I did
we
the
passed that by
hearing
now.
last week. Oh, sorry. I did the hearing last week and we didn't have any issues.
Oh,
The zoning
okay, good.
one. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That makes me feel relieved.
She
Good.
did send a different link. I don't know if that was what made it that
Okay.
work. Yeah.
What happened was when Dave Paris left the city, they had to change the name or put the account into another person's name, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't right for a while.
Okay. Okay. Just create all sorts of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll have this. Hey, Rick,
Hello,
Happy New Year. Is
Happy
that
New
weird to
Year.
say? It's the 18th. Is it weird to say still?
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
People look at you weird.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get something to drink before
Okay.
I.
Yeah, you're fine. And I'll have water, tea, whatever it takes.
And I believe we have the first applicant waiting or on the line, but I don't see anybody else yet.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna step.
Good afternoon. I'll be speaking on my father's behalf. Do I have to
Oh.
have my camera on or can I have it off?
Oh, no, you can have it off. That's fine until we start. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hi, Nigel.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Nigel.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, Amy, if that applicant doesn't call in, should we review the application nevertheless, or what do you think?
We should probably wait. If you want, I have their number right up on the phone because they just called me around 6 o'clock. I think it's. Let me. Do you want me to call them real quick right now to see if they're having an issue? They haven't contacted me.
I don't think you need to. Let's see if they call in. I don't want to
Okay.
keep them here all night.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll just play it by ear. I'm just
Okay.
saying if they don't call in, I think you've made every effort that you can to like give them
Yeah.
everything they need to call in. So it's on them to do that, to figure it out. But
Okay.
I'm just asking, like, if they don't, should we review it or not?
Well, we need them to make a decision. And I guess everything can remain at a standstill, but they're, in heavy violation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there really should be somebody in
Present.
attendance.
yeah,
discuss.
that's what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
And we need Benny for that one, right? For the first two.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll give Aaron like a couple of minutes, 6:35, even though we have a quorum. I'll give him 2 more minutes and then we can get started.
I did also tell the third applicant that the two before him required an interpreter and usually take longer. So I told him to call in at 7.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that'll be well before I'm sure we're finished, if we got through both of those.
yes, yeah.
No problem.
Hey, sorry I'm late, but I'm here.
Nope, you're
problem.
fine.
You're fine. Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Happy New Year. I
Thank you.
extended that to Rick and he didn't think it was too weird. So it's like New Year. What New Year? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Okay. Welcome to the January 2022 meeting of the City of Reading's Historical Architectural Review Board. During the COVID-19 emergency declaration, the Historical Architectural Review Board will hold its meetings using a virtual meeting platform since the public is still prohibited from attending the regular HARB meetings in person. Public comment for the HARB meeting was made available through email directed to Amy Johnson up to 5 p.m. today, January 18th. Comments received will be read into the record at this meeting. Ms. Johnson, were any public comments submitted?
No, there were none submitted.
Okay, thank you. A full recording of tonight's meeting will be placed on the city's website after adjournment of the meeting. So thank you for your attendance this evening. Chapter 295 of the City of Reading's Codified Ordinances requires that the HARB be guided by the United States Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, Chapter 180, construction codes, and by any policies and/or guidelines hereafter adopted by the board or the City of Reading. While meetings of the HARB are generally informal, Robert's Rules of Order are used to structure the proceedings and maintain decorum. All attendees are asked to all attendees are asked to mute their microphone unless they're actively participating in the discussion about their application. The audio portion of these proceedings will be recorded for record-keeping purposes. When an applicant hears the name of his or her property called by the chair, they should identify themselves and wait for the preservation officer to present the summary of the application proposal. The chair will then recognize the applicant when the time is appropriate for him or her to present any supporting information to the board. Applicants are asked to limit their presentation to 3 minutes. Okay, I'm not aware of any minutes that were submitted. Is that correct, Amy?
No, there were
Okay.
none.
Okay, all right, very good. Are there any conflicts of interest for tonight's agenda? Anyone? Nope, okay, all right. So I believe we have our first applicant here with us this evening, and we will be reviewing 604 Laurel Street. So Amy, are you gonna start, and then I guess Benny can interpret then.
Yes,
Okay.
I will read the property description. Okay, so this is for 604 Laurel Street. This 2.5-story brick row home built in the Italianate style. Oh, you're on mute.
You're on
Ned.
mute.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Can you repeat that? I mean, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And if I may have the daughter of the owner, if she can unmute herself, I'm just want to explain, we do have an interpreter, and is your father there sitting there with you?
Hi, so my father's not here, and that's why I'm gonna be here speaking on his behalf.
Okay, so you perfectly, so actually we don't need an interpreter for you
No,
then.
that's fine.
Okay, sorry,
Thanks.
Benny.
No worries.
Okay.
Go get a
Okay.
cup of tea, Benny.
So this 2.5-story brick row home built in the Italianate style had been compromised with the application of aluminum siding at the front facade and cornice, as well as the installation of aluminum awnings. The structure features original wood windows and once featured a first floor front porch with a wrought iron railing that has been removed and wood entrance steps that have been replaced. The structure received a site quality rating of 78, deeming it a significant contributing site in the Prince Historic District. And tonight we are reviewing the proposal for the removal of aluminum siding from the front facade, the removal of the aluminum awnings, removal of the first floor front porch, and the replacement of the wood front entrance steps at the front facade. And this is, all of the work was done without building permits and without, of course, HARB approval.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Would the applicant like to state anything about the work that's been completed or what we're reviewing tonight, outside of what Ms. Johnson stated?
I have some like notes from my father and questions.
Sure.
Can I start there?
Yeah,
Sure.
of course.
Okay, so first thing is that he will be putting back the railing. So he doesn't have the exact same one, but he's gonna be looking for one, like similar to that one.
Okay.
And that will happen in about a week or two. Another thing is that he is okay with any color choice, like if he can't have the same one, which is the red bricks, and then he would like to have the outline of the window be white. Is that okay?
Yeah, we're probably not reviewing color tonight, but those are the kind of things that Ms. Johnson can approve. And
Okay.
I mean, just on the surface, I don't, even though the board doesn't review colors, that doesn't seem like that seems like an
Okay.
appropriate choice, Amy, would you say?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna approve paint colors at staff level.
Yep.
But I will need to have, before he buys the paint, the paint color samples have to be submitted to my office so that I can review them. But I think he had just stated on his application that he was looking at a yellowish color, which I think I told him to kind of stay away from. But yeah, if he wants to do like a red brick and a white trim,
He
those
actually
types of
wants to keep it just how it is and just fill in. So the red that's already there, he wants to keep everything the same.
Okay, we can discuss that.
Okay, I have a question actually.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
will he need some kind of permit for the instructor to start working on the bricks and the painting, like in about 2 months?
He won't need a permit for painting and so he wants to scrape the paint off. Is that what you mean?
He wants to, well, I mean, he's gonna have it the same how it is, like the colors and everything. He just wants to fix it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he does not need a permit for painting. He just needs approval with the paint colors with me first.
Okay.
And for the railing, you had stated that he would like to replace the railing. Any railing that he proposes has to be reviewed by the review board first. So before he purchases anything or has anything made, he needs to provide a design to me, just like he's going through this process. And then we would put him on the agenda for next month's meeting. So the board needs to see what he's going to do and then approve it.
Okay. He's actually looking to find like a similar one to how it was before.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that was everything was understood. And by any means, by all means, if you have questions, just ask.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so why don't we, before we get into the porch that was removed and the steps and the railing, and then sounds like the reinstallation of some sort of metal railing, let's just talk through, does the board have any objections to the removal? This is kind of a silly question, but I have to ask it. To the removal of the aluminum siding or I assume that was an aluminum awning, Amy?
Yes, there
So-
was a large aluminum awning over the front porch and 2 over each of the second floor windows.
Got it. Okay. All right. And those have been removed. So, all right. So except for what is capping this cornice, it looks like all of the aluminum and awnings were removed from the front facade. So, I mean, those were non-conforming conditions to begin with. So I presume that does the board have any exceptions with the removal of those? I didn't think so. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So let's
I'm
just,
sorry, to be clear, so is the porch necessary? Will
we're
we have to-
actually, we're just about to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, all I asked the board was, the awnings were removed and so was the aluminum siding. And the board has no issues with the removal of those. We're not going to ask you to replace those materials. They would not have been original to the building.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So now we're talking about the porch itself. So, all right, so this was a condition before. So we had, so the whole porch was removed, the steps were removed, and then the steps were rebuilt using what looks like pressure treated lumber. And I think this is probably the closest picture that we have right here. So it looks like instead of treads, it looks like there were like individual boards that were formed together for these steps. So even though, and Amy, just correct me if I'm wrong on this, even though we've approved this material before and usually always painted, the style of this is not appropriate at all for this building.
Yeah, we've approved wooden steps, but the railing itself is
Right.
not appropriate.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Very good. So, so I'm going to open it up to the board to ask some questions. It sounds to me as though the applicant is willing to replace, let me go back to the original, replace the whole front porch, and then at our next meeting, they could come back and propose a railing style, a metal railing style, hopefully something close to this or something similar. Because we believe, Amy, that there were other properties in the block that had this same railing. Do you think it may have been original?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
and I personally don't think these row homes had porches on the front of them, but there are 6 in the block, and the railing that is next door at 606, that railing is at 3 other places in the block at least. So that's the railing, I think, you know, when they had railings, that was originally what was installed.
Okay. All right, very good. And then the decking underneath, this looks like it has some sort of astroturf on it, but the decking would have been like a tongue and groove decking?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. All right, very good. Okay.
I think if you scroll all the way down, there are pictures of other porches in the block.
Oh, good, thank you. Okay.
There's the railing that is on 3 other
Yep. Okay,
properties.
very good. Okay. So it's something similar.
Yes.
So
And
it
there's
looks like,
another one,
Mhm.
sorry, go.
No, that's okay. It looks like the porches were like elevated. They might not have been
Yeah.
like closed in with any kind of lattice or something like that.
Yeah,
Just-
no, that's typical, just having the support posts and nothing underneath.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay. All right, I just wanted to establish with the board what likely the original condition was. And you know, I think the applicant, you can see that we've, like, typically this would be like a, just a tongue and groove board.
Mhm.
Yep,
The one next to it is cement, which is older, but the one in the forefront, that was what the porch at 604 was like.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then these posts would only really have been there to hold up the awning.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry, I wanted to make sure the board understood what was like the original condition. So does the board have some questions for the applicant?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nigel, go ahead.
Thanks, Rick. So, I have a question for the applicant. You said that, the railing is no longer, correct? It's gone, trashed?
Yes.
Okay, and you're looking for another one. Well, I'm gonna tell you, those things are very difficult to find. Do
Oh,
I'm sorry, it's cutting off.
yeah, you're cutting out, Nigel.
and I could possibly meet you there. I've met other applicants there to be able to help you.
You actually cut off. Can you repeat that, please?
I think
The
you
whole
probably
thing?
mentioned the artifacts bank, Nigel. You cut out for about 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So 707, 705 North Fish Street, we have a artifacts bank through Center Park Historic District. They might have a railing. If you bring your measurements up there, which I would
Okay.
probably get the measurements from another porch nearby. So you have an idea, because I'm sure you don't know what the measurements of the railing would be since it's all torn down.
Okay.
If you go to like a neighbor's house and measure their railing, something similar, you might see that. I can help you look for that railing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I think what the board really has to decide tonight is if that railing cannot be found, what's the next step going to be?
Mhm. Yeah, what's appropriate.
I'll chime in and I'll say that none of those houses, none of the porches that you see on that block are original, because porches would have been built with wood for starters. They would not have been built with metal. That metal came way after the fact. So with that being said, and I will say none of them had porches. So what you see, actually, the one photograph you show without the handrail going up, I would say that was probably the original way that that house looked, with no railing whatsoever. Now, in all honesty, in today's world, you do need a hand railing. I mean, I'm all for that too at the same point in time. But the mere fact of what was taken off of there, that wasn't by any means original. And none of these porches on this block were, because they would have all been made out of wood. It's easy to see that when you walk through neighborhoods in Reading, and you can see all the different variations of porches that are constructed in the city. And those railings, they seem to be more popular much later in the life of this home, because I see them everywhere, and every time you can easily see, because if they were all as a composite row, which we have a lot of composite rows in the city of Reading, as Amy can attest to.
Yes.
So you're not going to see one whole block of all wrought iron railings. You're going to see a lot of wooden porches, and primarily when these houses were built, wood was the preference, the choice for the porch. But I'm going to go to the point where I'm going to just say that none of these houses had porches in the beginning when they were first constructed. So if you want to go, they actually did take it back to original construction as it is right now. So I would really give the applicant the opportunity to say, focus on putting a handrail up. And if you don't want a porch up, then by all means, I don't see any reason why you would need to have a porch up.
Okay, thank you.
Rick, what are you talking about? The iron, the metal?
That the wrought iron, what you're looking at right there. Yeah, that's not original.
Railing, you mean the railing?
Yeah, the railing. Yeah,
Okay.
that is not original.
Yeah, I mean, there is a mix of things on this block. It is sometimes kind of hard. It's hard to piece together, but even the one next to it just has steps, and some just have steps and a handrail. Some have porches. Some are concrete. Some are wood. Amy,
The moment these houses were built, they were built with wood porches.
Yeah.
That was the choice of preference. Cement was obviously the other one. Like in Center Park, there's cement porches. Those are original, yes. But primarily, when you're looking at porches, you're going to primarily see that the choice of construction for the porch was 100% wood. There was no iron, no wrought iron railings, no anything like that. So, matter of fact, like on my house, I do have a front porch on mine, and I have steps that go down, and I can tell you, from a picture I see of my house from 1935, there's no handrail going down. So that would lead me to believe that probably most of these houses didn't have handrails going up and down steps. So.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. Ms. Johnson, would you agree with that assessment?
Yes, I would agree exactly with what Rick just stated.
All right. So
Just in looking at row homes, even throughout the city, the row home without the porch just looks original to me.
yeah. Okay. All
It
right.
would have just like that.
Okay. So we're correcting ourselves in saying that the porch would not have been original, and the applicant now depends on what the motion sounds like, but the applicant would not be obligated to rebuild the porch. Is that correct? Okay.
I would say that, yes, that would.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, so it seems like that was the intent of removal of the porch was obviously the applicant would have, I believe their work would have shown that they wanted to rebuild the porch. So why don't we just focus in on what would be appropriate for a handrail, and then I think we should also address the condition of these treads, or the style of these treads rather.
And I wanted to add in the beginning, I apologize, the owner did speak with me and told me that everything, I don't know if the property was vacant or had been vacant for a while, but he said that the porch was rotted and the awnings were very deteriorated, and so that's why he had removed everything.
Okay. All right.
This is right next to the sandwich shop, Santos, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
A couple
My one
doors.
friend lived up the block too, so I know that. So I'm familiar with the block pretty well.
Okay,
And this was very rotted. Yes, I would agree with that.
thank you, Rick.
Okay, so so then in terms of like what is the board's opinion about material and style of handrail? Would we want the applicant to mimic something else, a wrought iron, either something that's decorative? I think I see some plainer styles as well, Amy, in the block.
Yes, yep.
Okay. All right, so there's an option of having a metal or wrought iron handrail, similar in style to this or some of the others. What's the board's opinion about the way these treads are constructed? That's not a typical installation.
Now, I would look at more like a single plank tread for each
Yep.
one of those.
Okay.
That would be more in conjunction with what you would see throughout the city.
Right.
Even the one next door that you look at, that's built the same way when you look right
Yes.
at that.
Yeah.
As far as the hand railing is concerned, I wouldn't necessarily even say that. I mean, if you could find something that looked like the one that's next door, that would be ideal. But if you even took out the decorative iron in the center and just have the handrail and the post at the bottom, I think that would be satisfactory as well.
Yeah, I think so too. You can see here, even in the background, it appears as if there are different styles and some are simpler than this ornate one. Yep, I would agree. Okay, all right. Well, then the applicant, so we have a couple of options. If the board, whoever would want to make a motion, this style, we could specify this style and the details could be approved at staff level, or we could have the applicant come back and submit the information for the style of handrail. And then if whoever wants to make a motion of the correcting these treads so that they're flat, like a single board, as opposed to these multiple narrow pieces.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, if someone can help me walk through a motion, I'll make a motion. That's not a problem with that.
Okay.
I would say that I would make a motion to allow the removal of the porch to remain removed, to focus on removal of the handrail that's currently put in and replace with a iron one, to be approved at staff level. Would that be fine, Amy?
Yeah, if you want to stipulate that it can mimic one of the simpler
Make
ones.
something that's on the block, preferably next door, would be ideal, but it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly like that. But I think the basic foundation of it, with the way the rounded bar going down to the steps, down to the street level, and with the post at the bottom, would be satisfactory. Removal of the treads on the stairs going up and have them replaced with a bullnose flat single piece tread for each one of the 3 treads I see. I think we would probably have to allow the landing to remain the same. I don't know, Amy, would you say? We have a good picture of that landing.
Yeah, there was a picture of it straight on. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that we would probably have to, I don't know what you would do about getting around that. That would be the one thing there.
Hold on, let me look at my photo. Because when I looked at it, it looked like the treads and I think the landing, just trying to find my photo, had the grooves facing upwards. So is that okay? Or should it be a flat piece?
No, I think the grooves would be okay.
Yeah, on the landing, the groove, there are grooves.
So it's the same material?
Mm-hmm,
I think
yes.
that's
Yeah.
just built out more. Okay.
I mean, I'm of a couple of different ways of going with that one. And
I thought we had, just in my memory, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we had discussed at one point that the grooves the wood is supposed to be the other way, like it's supposed, they're
Yeah.
all supposed to be on the flat side because water can collect in those grooves and freeze and thaw and destroy the wood. That's just my recollection.
So have the top landing replaced with tongue and groove, basically, is what you're saying, and having it running towards the street?
Probably, yes, although, I mean, I don't know if these pieces of wood, if you flip them over, would they have a flat side to them?
That I don't know.
Because, yeah, I'm not sure either. If it's constructed of multiple pieces of wood or if it's one piece of wood with the grooves on top.
And Amy, it looks to me like it's multiple pieces.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all it is the same as the treads, just more of them.
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I would agree
Yep.
with that, yes.
Yeah.
okay.
So, but Rick has a good point. Do you think it should be running with the seams like toward the door, instead of parallel with the house,
Yeah,
perpendicular to the house?
A tongue
Yeah.
and groove would be satisfactory.
Yes,
Yeah, I would
yeah.
think so.
I think a tongue groove would be better.
I would,
Yeah.
and that would also include with removal of the, I imagine that's gonna be part of it anyway, but removal of the railing there would be those 3 posts would be
The
removed
post as well. Yep. Yep.
as well. The foundation of it, that's on the side, I think would be okay to leave. It would need to be in a finished product to be painted also as well, and that would be approved at staff level also as well.
Yep.
And the painting of the building also would be or the finished product of the outside of the building would be approved at staff level as all. So I should say. Did I make a motion out of that?
Yeah.
It was a little
It's fine.
convoluted, but
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. And would you want your motion to include that the removal of the aluminum siding and awning is appropriate and
that is appropriate, yes. Make
Okay, that would not have to be replaced.
We're perfectly fine. Actually, they did a service to the building as opposed to
Yeah, they
disservice.
did. Agreed. Yep.
I just would like to know what's underneath that cornice up there at the top.
yeah.
Something pretty, I'm sure. So,
Maybe we can inspire them to make it look so pretty that they would like to look at that, what that looks like too as well.
all right. No, that was a good motion, Rick. Thank you. I think we got everything there. Is there a second to that motion?
Oh,
I'll second it.
Oh, go
one
ahead.
more clarification. You mean for the railing to be wrought iron and not like a powder coated aluminum, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank-
Okay. All right, Mr. McDevitt, are you okay with your second?
I'm okay with my second.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, I will call for the vote. Okay, Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Politica.
Yes.
All right, and Ms. Walker.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so if the applicant has some questions, just make sure that you talk to Amy. She's gonna spell all this out in a letter to and something in the mail, something in writing, so you can make sure that you're really clear. Again, make sure that your father doesn't buy any additional materials outside of things or buy paint. Double check with Amy on what needs to be approved outside of what the board's approved here, and any questions about details, just make sure that you talk to Amy first before any materials are purchased or any work is done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
And
All right.
may I have the correct spelling of your name just for the meeting minutes?
Is that mine?
Yeah, your name, sorry.
So it's Niurka. That's my first name, last name Prano.
Niurka. Is the
Yes,
first,
first name.
okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great evening.
Nice
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Super. All right, so we're gonna go on to our, do we have Mr. Perez here for 353 North Fifth Street?
Yes, I see Ramon Perez
Okay.
on.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, so we're gonna move on to 353 North Fifth Street, and I think we need an interpreter for this, is that correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
All right, and then, so Amy, you can go ahead and kick it off then. Thank you.
Okay. This 3-story end of row structure
Esta es una propiedad de 3 pisos que está al final de de la calle.
received a site quality survey rating of 88
Recibió una calificación de calidad de la ubicación de 88.
and is a contributing building in the Callow Hill Historic District.
Y es un edificio que contribuye al el área histórica de Callow Hill.
The structure features the original scallop slate mansard roof.
Scallop slate.
I don't think the word for slate in Spanish is what I've been told.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use slate. Okay.
Yeah.
El techo tiene una arandela ondulada de slate. Go ahead.
The third floor dormer with wood detailing.
La ventana del tercer piso tiene un detalle de madera.
A brick facade with a corbelled cornice. I'm not sure what the word for corbelled
Yeah,
would be.
I have that.
Okay.
Can you just repeat it for me, please?
Sure. A brick facade with a corbelled cornice.
Que tiene una fachada de ladrillo y tiene una cornisa, un revestimiento como con una cornisa.
And the original first floor storefront with a recessed entrance.
Y tiene las tiendas originales de enfrente y tienen la entrada un poco hacia atrás.
And tonight we are reviewing the request for the modification of the first floor storefront.
Hoy estamos repasando la solicitud para modificar la tienda de enfrente.
And the Secretary of the Interior standards that apply are
Y los estándares del secretariado del interior que aplican en este caso son los siguientes.
and I'm going to interrupt myself. I apologize. I did not do this for the last application.
Okay.
But the standards are number 2. And I sent you these, Benny, so I don't know if you have them in front
I
of
do.
you.
I
Okay,
have them.
perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure.
The historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided.
Se conservará y preservará el carácter histórico de un edificio. Se evitará la remoción de materiales históricos o la alteración de elementos y espacios que caracterizan el inmueble.
Number 5, distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved.
Se conservarán los rasgos distintos, acabados y técnicas de construcción con ejemplos de artesanía que caractericen el inmueble.
And number 6, deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, or pictorial evidence.
Las características históricas deterioradas deben repararse en lugar de reemplazarse. Cuando la gravedad del deterioro requiera el reemplazo de una característica distinta, la nueva característica debería coincidir con la anterior en diseño, color, textura y otras cualidades visuales, y cuando sea posible, materiales. El reemplazo de las características que faltan se justificará mediante pruebas con documentos, físicas y también con fotos.
And that is all I have.
Okay. Benny, do you want to ask the applicant if he would like to say anything about this work today?
El solicitante, ¿usted quiere añadir algo sobre el trabajo de hoy o de la propiedad?
¿Aló?
Sí.
Sí, yo soy la esposa de Ramón Pérez. Él no pudo asistir porque él no se pudo conectar al teléfono Él lo único que quiere es saber porque él quiere ya terminar el trabajo de ese building. No sé si lo puede decir en inglés porque yo hablo inglés.
Oh,
Eh,
she speaks, you have his wife on the line and she speaks English, so she'll like to tell you what it is.
Okay,
Okay, I'm Elizabeth Perez. I'm Ramon Perez's wife.
okay,
He just called me because he's having he didn't know that he had to go into Zoom for the interview for the property.
okay,
He just wants to know exactly what he needs to do because he spent a lot of money. Like I haven't seen what he's done, but he just wants to finish up the process of finishing the work that needs to be done. He wants in detail if they can translate it in Spanish because I'm not too sure I'm not familiar with materials or anything like
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
he knows exactly 100% what he needs so he can do the next purchase so he can finish up so he doesn't waste more money like buying the wrong stuff. He wants exactly what he needs to finish up the work to do it properly so I can pass inspection.
Got it.
Because I'm the
Okay.
one who does his paperwork sometimes. I would like him, to finish the property too because it's taking a long time with doing the wrong stuff. One, they tell him that this is the wrong, he thinks it's the right stuff. And now because of the historical, that everything has to be a certain way, he just wants to finish. And for the board to please just submit or tell him in detail. And if you can translate it in Spanish, because I'm not good, I'm not a good translator. If it can be translated in Spanish, exactly what kind of materials you guys are requiring of him.
Okay. We will make it very clear. You can tell him that.
And I don't know if you can maybe in a letter, if Amy, or I don't know who's in charge of this, to get this job done. Like if somebody can just do it, maybe in a letter and I can help him out. Like if it's in Spanish or something, because I'm not too familiar with the material world of any like building or anything like that.
Okay.
But I just want, he just wants to finish up. He's very stressed.
Okay.
This is the interpreter. I can relate to that. I have to learn all
Yeah,
the names of the materials.
I can translate certain things, but when it comes down to material and
Yeah.
details and stuff, I'm not going to. That's why I'm being honest. Like I need someone to really detail it in Spanish. I don't know if somebody at the office can exactly tell him so he knows. So whoever's working there with the license knows what to do.
If when the board makes their final decisions tonight, after their discussion, we could set up a meeting with Ramon and his contractor, and I have several people that would be able to translate. But everything will be written up in a letter, but in English. But if we could set up a meeting and then we could have it translated to him. But in some way, we will be able to have it translated.
Because I'm thinking the person in charge, that contractor that has the license, should be the person maybe knowing what kind of materials you guys are telling them, because they're the ones that are going to end up doing the job.
Yes.
Like I can do the basic translation, but when it comes down to material, I don't want to give out the wrong info, and then he goes out and purchases stuff. And I know the contractor, if they're familiar with the area of where this needs to be done, they should know exactly what they're asking for. I'm thinking if they have experience with what they expect from the, what needs to be done, if they want to keep it historical, or I don't know the deal, but I just feel like somebody has to know exactly what it needs so it can get completed and done.
Yes, no, we can make sure that happens.
So why should I tell Ramon? Because he wants, the information. So I told him I was going to try my best to understand, but when it comes down to the material part, I'm not good at it. Giving you need this, you need that. What's the next step after this meeting?
The board will be discussing that right now. So they have to discuss the project and decide what is going to be approved.
Okay, and that takes approximately how many days, so I can tell him, because he's probably going to want to know the date so he can talk to the contractor to see what kind of materials they need. And so I can, for the next time the inspection comes, there's no issues.
Ma'am. So what we're going to do is the board is going to have discussion about what we feel is an appropriate restoration of this storefront. What happened was, unfortunately, your husband and his contractor did this work without any permit or without any approval. So unfortunately, a lot of things that got done are not appropriate. So just be patient. The board is going to have discussion back and forth, and then we will come to a conclusion and we'll make that very clear what has to happen. Okay. And we'll talk through that this evening, and then Amy will follow up with that in writing. And then she's offered as well to set up a meeting with Benny or with some other interpreter to walk through every step. A lot of it is not necessarily what we'd like to see, I think, for the most part, is a return to some of the things that were removed. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let the board have a discussion about that first. Okay. We're just going to go back and forth on a few things, and then we'll draw a conclusion. We'll have a motion, and we'll make sure that that is really clear. Okay. So I don't want you to get stressed. Your husband to get stressed. We're just going to have some discussion among the
No,
board
I'm
members.
just, I just want, like, I told him, don't buy anything else. Like, I
Don't.
don't
You
know what's
mustn't.
going on behind the scenes because I'm in another world right now. But like I said, if it needs to, if it's something that was put in incorrectly or something, I have no idea. But the thing is, I just want things to, like I told him, just to, buy the right stuff to when prompted, so he can get the job done, and to do it well, one more time, like give him the opportunity to do it and get it done. Like if they told him they need this to be metal, let's make sure it's metal and make sure it's the right stuff. Like for you guys, like since you have experience and you know exactly what he needs, so he knows with the contractor who has the experience, I believe that he knows that this is what needs to be bought. Because you don't want to do a
Understood.
job like 100 times,
Yep.
and
Ma'am,
you don't want to
ma'am,
have like 100 meetings. So
Ma'am?
everybody have the home stuff.
ma'am, please. Let the board discuss this. Okay. I promise we're going to make it really clear, and we'll try to make it as painless as possible. So why don't you pause for a minute? I'm going to ask the board to discuss this, and then we'll draw our conclusions. Okay. And we'll move as quickly as we can. Okay. So let's just establish the fact that this was the condition of the building back from, I think, 2019, right, Amy? This is the condition of the building that we believe the current owners bought property
Yes.
in? Okay. All right, very good.
And a
Okay.
lot longer before that too, for that matter. So.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, yep. And we established the fact that there were some plans that were submitted, not to the board, but the executive committee reviewed some plans that were written up by Miguel, and I think we thought a lot of those were not appropriate. Unfortunately, it sounds like the current owners took those plans and implemented a lot of those, but they had never been approved. So let's walk through what the current state of the building is. Now, Amy, I saw this and got totally thrown off. So this was the condition in November.
Correct, yes. And this is
Okay.
when we started putting stop work orders on, and then the owner still never came in to speak with me or anything, and then kept working and removed this stone, and then this is what it looks like today.
Okay, so this is the current state just a couple of days
Yeah.
ago. Okay, all right. So we're basically reviewing, we've got this stacked stone here. We've got a new storefront window system. We've got a door right here that goes into this storefront and then in through that door. That would create like a second entrance to the building, right?
Correct.
Okay. They also have a commercial style door here. And then in addition, it looks like this tile, which looks like an interior tile. This tile was tiled over. Was that brick? Do you know what was there?
It was
Or what, a terracotta tile or something?
it was a terracotta square
Yeah,
tile that
that's what I
matched
thought.
the
Okay.
same size as the blue tile that was
As the
on.
blue tile. Okay, the little 4x4s or whatever, we'll just say. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at what's least egregious right now. And then of course there's some lighting, which there was a, it sounds like the intent was to probably put an illuminated sign up there. Is that correct?
Yes, and I
Yeah.
explained to them that the HARB sign policy discourages that where there wasn't currently illuminated signage before.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, let's go through the least egregious thing, which is aside from this door here that's in the storefront. Does anybody have any exceptions to the glass and framing system that was replaced with the old was replaced with this new one? It's got some black. It looks like probably aluminum framing and glass. That's clear glass, right, Amy? It's not like a smoky glass or anything like that. Okay.
Nope.
So does the board have any exceptions? That's not the same profile, but it essentially kind of sort of mimics is similar, just large panes of glass around some sort of framing. Does the board have any issues with that, or would they want something there changed?
And I tried to show, it is a dark bronze aluminum storefront system. It's a new system, and I tried to show that it is not plumb with the existing or with the original storefront. And kind of override, you can see, yes, it rides the lips a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
or the original,
okay.
original structure.
Okay. So it's undersized, do you think, Amy?
It's oversized. It's
Oversized?
spilling over, as you can see that, I think there's, in the top of the picture, that's the next one down that you start scrolling, you can see the top
Oh, I'm
edge
sorry.
is
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. I was
spilling
looking,
over.
I was looking down here. Okay, I
And
see.
then it's spilling over on the bottom and the top,
Got it. Okay.
for lack
So,
of a better.
all right. So the materials might not be inappropriate, but the installation is poor.
Yes.
Okay.
I was hoping Aaron Booth would be in attendance. I'm not sure how that's rectified. I also tried to take pictures showing that there's been shims put in place.
Mhm.
Yep, right there,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
on the side as well.
I
There
see
you
that.
can see up at the top, you can see the storefront coming out from underneath the original storefront.
Just projects more. Okay, thanks for pointing that out. I hadn't seen that. I hadn't noticed that detail. So, okay. All right, so that's an installation or condition issue that
Yeah.
that we have to talk through. I think the intent is there, but it sounds like, looks like the execution, it was not sized appropriately. And I'm not sure if that can be retrofit to set back and be more in keeping with the original framing of this whole area here.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure, without speaking with a building inspector, or maybe
Mhm.
Aaron would have more knowledge. I don't know how that's rectified,
Yeah. Okay, all right.
but it's
Okay.
poorly done.
Yes,
beyond a doubt.
agreed. Okay, agreed. Okay, it might have just been like a standard size that they just sized and got as close as they could to this opening.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Is the board in agreement that this stack stone is a totally inappropriate material?
completely inappropriate.
Okay, all
Yes.
right, very good. All right.
And
And the blue,
I-
go ahead, Amy.
I'd say when the owner came to me about 45 minutes before the meeting, he did bring me a piece of blue tile, a piece of the original tile from the front, and then a piece of new porcelain tile. And the colors match pretty well. And he seems to be agreeable to, he can't find those, whatever they are, 4-inch square, but he would be able to cut the tile into that same configuration. So he
Okay.
is willing to do that.
Okay. And then he'd have to mimic the same grout line and to get the right look.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was, when he bought the building, this was always infilled with brick, is that right?
Yes,
This area
yeah,
here.
there was in the original photographs from 2009, then in a separate email that I sent you, it was there was like concrete. So I
That's
don't,
right.
it looks like the owner might have put brick infill there, but
Okay.
I don't, if he were to replace all of the blue tile, I don't see any reason why he couldn't just extend it over that area.
Yeah, he may have to remove that brick. Yeah, but I agree. Okay. All right. And then what is the board's opinion about this tile? Inappropriate?
Inappropriate.
Okay, inappropriate. Okay. And either like a concrete or a tile. Amy, you said it was like a terracotta or a red brick tile.
Yeah, it was the same exact
Size?
size as the blue tile, but it was terracotta color.
Got it. Okay. All right. So that could be something that the board would want them to return to, like a red tile. Okay. All right. What is the board's point of view on this, the fact that the storefront was completely enclosed before and now there's a door here?
the door should be, the entrance should be the original entrance in the center. And if there's going to be a secondary entrance, that should be inside the door.
Agreed.
opposed to
Okay.
Outside the door.
All right, very good. Okay. And then in addition, it looks like the original door is not necessarily a unique door. It's a door that we see in a lot of homes in the Center Park area, like a 3/4. Amy, I think I've got a better picture. Sorry, probably make you guys dizzy while I was scrolling. Should I go to that other
No.
email?
The other picture, yes, was in the other email, and
Okay.
it was a full glass and wood door. But like you said, you described that you'd find in other like older original storefronts.
Yep. Okay, yep. Let's see here. Yep, okay,
There you go. Yep.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, and we can see the red tile here
Yeah.
as well. Yep,
Red
okay,
tile prominently displayed there.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
very good, okay, all right.
Amy, as far as the windows overextending the original profile of the building,
Mhm.
I'm sure a building codes would be able to address that. Building inspector would be able to address that a lot more properly than we can, actually.
Yes. Yes, I would agree.
That would be the person that really would need to get involved with making the windows and the way that they were installed there properly, give the right verbiage as to how that has to be properly put together.
Correct. I would agree with you.
Aaron would probably be able to do that pretty well, but he's not here tonight. So
Right,
where is he anyway?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I didn't hear.
MIA.
I got hung up at work.
But yeah, I mean, that would be in lieu of his absence, I think that would be the best recourse to make as far as the construction of those windows, is to have a building inspector actually write the law out as to how that should be done properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even take notice of that part. I just saw that they put windows, the window back in. I didn't really look too closely as to what they did as far as I was concerned, but it's like, yeah, now you look at that, it's like the shims and all that stuff. Yeah, that's poorly constructed, is right. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were going to caulk that or what exactly they were going to do, but yeah, maybe once we get to a motion, we could make that contingent on like a building inspection or
Yeah.
a building inspector to review the condition on that.
Yes.
So, okay, all right. Okay, so we've addressed the floor, basically the water table, the tile, the blue tile around the skirting on the front. The front door itself, the side entrance door that's breaking up the glass system on the right side, on the south side of the storefront. And then even though the electrical here is like nothing's been done with it, I think we just want to make sure that the applicant would have to come back for some signage. And I think when someone gets to a motion, just making clear that an internally illuminated sign, it's very likely the board would not approve that. It hasn't been installed here, and we generally discourage internally illuminated signs altogether. But we may make exception if it's in a commercial district and it was one where there may have been one there before. Okay, let's see, and then the front door as well, and then the tiling up to the front door. Okay, all right. Are there any other areas? Thank goodness this is still intact, just the framing on the storefront. So that's still there. Are there any other issues or
In a thought of being maybe a step ahead, what are the intentions with the rest of the facade of the building? Do we have any clarity on that at all whatsoever?
All that the owner has given me is he did provide a paint color. And I think if you look at the picture of the full front facade, they actually started painting in the middle of the windows.
Okay,
And it'll be like a red brick color, which I've already approved.
okay. Do you know what the intent of the purpose of the building is going to be?
There you go, that color right there in between the
Okay.
window.
Okay, I thought that actually had been peeled off, to be honest with you, so. Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Mrs. Perez can answer that.
Can you repeat? What's the question?
What is going to be the use of the building?
I have no idea. I will have to ask him. But I know he's trying to get it done, but he will have to answer that I can't
Okay.
answer that.
I was just curious, that's all my curiosity was, because if we zoom in on that lower window,
No.
that's like an area for concern too, on the right-hand side.
Oh,
No, second floor. That's
Oh,
why I'm
sorry.
asking the question, right there, yeah. That looks
Oh.
like an area of potential concern there, I don't know.
I didn't even notice that, yeah.
There's some structural issues. I see cracks here. I see
Yeah.
cracks here, here.
Unfortunately, the building has been vacant for a long, long time.
As long as I can remember. I can never remember anything even been there.
I was in that building about 3 to 4 years ago, and the second floor had collapsed into the first floor.
Was that when they were gonna make that like a home for veterans that
Yep.
Michelle actually wrote the article on?
Yep, I
Yeah,
was there, so, yep.
okay. Yeah, she had told me that it was in pretty sad shape at that point too, so.
but I guess the previous, whoever owned that building, they never did any work. I think it looks nicer than it was before. It was like, I saw the before picture, and I feel like it looks better now. It gives it a look to it.
Well, it's cleaned up, there's no doubt, because before this, before anything was going on here for a couple of years, there was a homeless person that was living in the doorway there and had quite a
So I think
collection,
it looks better for the
stuff.
street.
you know.
Okay. So are there any other questions that the board has about what's installed? What materials would be appropriate? I mean, it appears as if we're really heading the direction of asking the applicant to return back to basically the materials that we're seeing here.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that would be a fair assessment, yes.
Okay, all right. So if there's no other discussion with the board, would someone just like to make a motion? I mean, you can be as specific or not, more specificity is better. Amy appreciates that, but
Yes,
certainly it is like, you know, if you want to be specific in terms of like a return to particular materials, I'll bring up the original condition here. That's essentially it with the other door. The older door.
I can make a motion on this.
Okay,
I think I'm comfortable with it.
okay,
I would say I would make a motion for the tile at the base of the front of the building and going into the entranceway being returned to a similar tile to what we have currently there. I also would make, I'll include in that is the removal of the tile that has been installed in the entranceway and replace it with a similar tile that was there also. I would make that motion. I would have the motion also include that the applicant work with the codes or building.
Build trades.
Yeah, and have them work with having the windows reinstalled properly. That way it would fit the profile of the building. Removal also of the door in the window on the right-hand side in the entranceway, returning to one single door if there's going to be separate entrances after that point, that it would be made at the interior level as opposed to exterior. I would also have the applicant be aware of the fact that there's lack of, a lighting, there's a lighting policy that HARB has that a light on the front there would not be appropriate. I would like to include in that motion that the structural damage above the front facade be addressed also as well prior to painting. Anything else I missed?
No, I
There's
think that's
two,
Oh, return of the door, the return of the door
fine.
to a appropriate door period to the building. Removal, as of that example, yes. And did I miss something else yet?
they had also supplied in that information is pictures of what the ceiling fixture was. That wasn't discussed. It should be
Oh.
all and
Wrong house. Okay, there you go.
It should be what, Amy?
it should be at the, I think it's the very last page.
Oh, sorry.
And it's
Sure.
pictures of the proposed ceiling mount. It's like an emergency light and a flush mount round fixture. Right there.
Okay. Well, that would be no. That's a no also. So one's an emergency light and the other one is just a flush mount.
Like flush mount, yes, to light the entrance way.
Okay. Well, I would say
Is
no
it-
to that. Now, the emergency light, I don't know how we can get around that. I mean, that would be,
A building code requirement, Amy? Some sort of emergency lighting?
Yeah, I don't know what they require. I'm sorry, I don't know if that is an absolute requirement or not.
the emergency light would have to be taken at building codes. Have that, addressed by building codes, but the light would have to be more appropriate to the style of the building. And they could get themselves an LED light. I mean, I have a nice little LED light in the back of my house here right now that probably would look a heck of a lot better than that. I mean, it has a actually little box and it has the windows in it and stuff like that. So it's, but
I just want to put it out there. I don't feel comfortable approving that at staff level. I would feel more comfortable if it returned to the review board.
Yeah, the light would have to be brought back and yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
then,
I agree with that.
not something that, all right, Rick, if you want to include that in the motion, that a light fixture would have to be researched and brought
Light
back.
would have to be researched and re-approached with the board for
Okay.
approval. Correct.
Okay.
That would be the easier way of saying it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I had a quick question. Amy, do we know what the material of the ceiling of the vestibule was? I mean, I just see plywood here.
Plywood.
Plywood?
I don't know what was there originally. No.
Okay. Do you know what condition, when I say when I ask originally, what would have been like before the building was purchased?
I would say I've seen them, maybe not plywood, but some sort of wood. And some of them are covered with like a decorative like tin metal, that you would typically see like on the inside of a store or something historically.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to think it. I've seen them as wood before.
Yeah,
I
okay.
doubt that was with this building because I think this building probably looked like the next door building more than anything
The
else.
ceilings in those entryways are usually like a board and batten, and a lot of times they're just plaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Board and batten or a wainscoting, like a strip molding of some type.
Yeah.
Like like you would see in like a porch ceiling typically, because like
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they intended for this. But
Beadboard is what I meant, not board and
That-
batten, beadboard.
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
what I was thinking too, like a beadboard. Okay, all right. I certainly think that would be an appropriate choice. Is that, Rick, do you want to include that in the motion?
Yes.
Okay, all right, including like a beadboard ceiling. Okay, yeah, because painting over plywood would obviously not be appropriate. Now, I don't know if that was what they intended because they're obviously not finished yet, but I think that would be an appropriate inclusion in the motion. Okay. All right, I think that, Amy, do you think that covers everything?
I think it does. Yes.
Okay. All right.
One question, if the tiles are to be returned to, their original condition, are you okay with what I described? Having the owner cut the tiles to that dimension, like, taking if he
Yes.
can't, that 4x4, taking.
Yeah, and he could probably do the same thing with the floor also as well.
Floor, okay.
Just find a more appropriate color towards that. If he found
Right.
that's tile in the color of that tile on the facing, then he should be able to find did the steps change?
The step, well, they changed the configuration of the steps, I think, to accommodate to get into that second entrance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good point.
Um,
Yeah. So it's like a
think
very wide, like long landing there.
Yeah, they're longer now. They're not short like they were.
I have the picture. I don't know. Tell me if you can see.
I can see that from that other picture that you showed. That one kind of shows how short they're more like a typical step as opposed to that wider profile.
Yeah.
I would say also returning it to that original configuration of the steps also as well.
Okay. Yep.
Add
Here's
that
a
in there too as well.
Yep. Okay. Super. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Rick. I think that does include everything. Okay. Is there a motion to, excuse me, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm going to call for a vote. Okay. Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Politica.
Yes.
Okay. And then Ms. Walker.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so for the applicant, now I'm just going to walk through at a high level what we're going to ask, what the board has voted on to change on the work that's been done. Now, Amy again will like not to do any work. I think it's really important that the applicant, that your husband come in and we can, Amy can walk through with an interpreter exactly what the board has specified be changed. And much of it is really a return to what was originally there, which seems strange, but remember, being in a historic district is really about trying to maintain or return materials that that would have originally, the building would have had originally had or been installed in a certain style. So that is really you know, any features or materials that really define the style and the era of a building is what is really what historic districts are trying to maintain or return back to. So that's why you're going to hear some of this. So I'm just going to walk through at a high level and then let you know what our next steps are. Okay. Are you with us, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay, all right. So I'm going to work from the bottom up, okay? So this blue tile, your husband had told Miss Johnson that he can get a hold of something very similar to this. And we're going to ask him to return all the tile. The stone has to be removed, and we're going to have him return all this blue tile back to this area here. Okay. And then again, like we don't have to like go into every detail. I'm just telling you the areas that need to be changed. Okay. As well, the entrance here, the configuration of the steps has changed because they added a door here. I'll get to that. But we're asking them to return the configuration of the steps back to this. In addition to finding a red tile that would have mimicked, we know that that's been removed or covered up and probably damaged permanently. But you can see the style of the tile in blue and the style of the tile in red is very, you know, very similar, except for color. So we're asking for something that's going to return the look to that. And then in addition, the door, we're asking for, I'm sorry, you probably can't see this, I'm pointing things out. There was an original door that was removed, and we're asking the applicant to source a door. There are doors like this available at an artifacts bank and salvage areas. They're not really difficult to find, but it can take a little bit of work to find a door like this. If there isn't something appropriate, sometimes we'll allow a new door with a similar configuration. I know that wasn't in the motion, Amy, but hopefully we can find something, an older door that looks like this. And the board doesn't have a major issue with the glass and the framing, the storefront system. We do have an issue with the installation, and we're asking a building inspector to take a look at how this was installed, because we're a little concerned about how some of it projects out from the storefront a little bit, and how it was shimmed. So there's a little concern about the installation of this door, excuse me, the storefront glass. And in addition to that, this door, the board did not find the installation of this door appropriate. It wouldn't have been there originally. So we're asking the applicant to also remove that door and replace it with a pane of glass, you know, just like this one, so that it's all enclosed. finding a second entrance to the upper floors would have to be done through the inside of the building, not the exterior. Okay. And then we are going to ask your husband to come back. We can help guide a little bit in terms of a light fixture that would be appropriate. The light fixtures that were proposed were not appropriate for this building. So that's something that's going to have to be reviewed again by the board at the next meeting. There are many other things that can be done. That's not going to hold up the project. And in addition to this, there was plywood on the ceiling of the vestibule, and we're asking that beadboard or like a narrow tongue and groove. Again, Amy Johnson can spell all this out. We can provide pictures and images of that as well. And then even though the electric, there's nothing wrong with having electric here. Your husband's going to have to come back for a sign, whatever sign he's proposing for this business. And it cannot be internally illuminated. Now, this power may be used for some external illumination, like a gooseneck light or something similar to that. So he doesn't necessarily have to remove the electric, but we cannot approve a sign that has internal illumination where the letters, like channel letters, are lit from the inside. We would allow a sign board or a sign area to be lit externally, some sort of external light fixture. And I think that covers it. There are some concerns as well about the condition of the building on the second floor that we're concerned about, some cracks and what appear to be some kind of significant cracks in the brick. So that may be something that when the building official comes out to look at how the storefront windows were installed, he may be able to give some guidance on what he believes the condition of the building is. That this is concerning these kind of large step cracks here, and here. That indicates some movement of the building, which is a little concerning. Again, like that's not, the HARB doesn't review that. We just see a condition there that's a little bit concerning, and we want to make sure that that the building official just take a look at that and advise to make sure the building is sound. So I know that was a lot. And I don't want you to get stressed about all the detail. Again, Ms. Johnson's going to spell that out, and we'll make sure that that your husband is really clear on what the board is expecting him to return and changes made to the building. We're really much more interested in ensuring that the building can return to something that still has some historical value to it. And that's why we're giving guidance on materials and trying to return things as much as possible to the condition, not the poor condition, but the materials used when he purchased the building. Okay.
Now, I know he's not here, but because I'm going to see him later. I mean, everything, like I said, when it comes down to material and everything, it's like a different language to me, because I'm not like, it's like cars. I don't know nothing about cars.
It's okay. It's all right.
But do you think in this case, like there's a lot of stuff that he has to do, like to take care of, to make sure that things get done so he can eventually do whatever he has to do. Do you think somebody from your place, since they know exactly what he needs so he doesn't make mistakes in purchasing stuff that he shouldn't down the road, that they can go with him to guide him to exactly pick up the materials? Do they have any help like that, like somebody?
No, we won't be able to go with him. We can only tell him in writing. It will be in writing, the materials that he will be required to obtain.
Purchase.
Yes, purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it can't be translated in Spanish or anything.
What I'm suggesting, or what I suggested before, is that once I have this in writing, which will take me a couple weeks, plus City Hall is closed until at least January 31st to the public. So once this is in writing and written out, I can have him come in and meet with me and a translator and have it all translated to him.
Oh, that sounds good. That
and
sounds perfect.
He,
Yeah, that sounds much better. That will be relieving to him tonight when I tell him, because I think that's the other thing too. I don't know, the contractor, whoever, he has a license and everything, but whoever's working with, building the building, and they know that they should do things this way, like just do it once right, like maybe something went wrong. I don't know. Like, I don't know what went wrong, that everything was the wrong stuff.
What the issue is, just plainly, is he did not pull any building permits and get approvals. So he, as
Oh,
Weller stated, he should not purchase anything until he
without,
receives further instruction.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, had he had an approval and permit, things would have been probably a little different with what you have to buy and something like that.
Correct.
Very
He may
different.
not have gotten any further, actually, than where he was, we would have stopped him before he bought anything.
Yeah.
And then get him to buy the
I
right.
never asked or anything, but it makes sense. Like, I know how it is, everywhere. Like, if you purchase a building or whatever and you want to do something, you have to get permits from the city and
Yes.
stuff like that.
It's very basic. It's very basic. And
Yeah.
yeah. So that was, unfortunately, your husband didn't do that. And that's why, unfortunately, he's bought materials and he's paid money for materials to be installed. And I would have to say the majority of it is not appropriate. And so it's the property owner's responsibility to know what the local building regulations are. And if your building is under any other kind of regulation, such as a historic district, that does have purview over the any changes to the facade, materials of the building, anything that fundamentally changes the historic character of the building. And unfortunately, all of those things he did not do, and that's why we're having a difficult conversation about this, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see. I mean, I'll probably be a little mentor behind him to make sure that things get done properly, so he can get to get this done hopefully before the summer, so everything can go in order. Because I wasn't aware. Because I have other stuff going on. My mother passed away, and other, there's so many things going on. So he was taking care of that, but I didn't know everything behind the scenes that was going on.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you had to find out this way. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about your mother.
Yeah, like I'm in another world right now with my mind. Like Christmas passed away, she wasn't here, so trying to grasp. And now he needed assistance because he called me and he says, oh, I don't know how to do the Zoom or anything. So I have to stop here where I am so I can at least hear a little bit. So he has an idea of what's going on.
Okay. All right. Well, we would appreciate it very much if you could just, you can let him know what the, as much as you can remember, and then we're going to follow up and try to help guide your husband in the right thing. But I can't reiterate enough what Ms. Johnson said, which is like, there's a stop work order in the building, so he cannot do anything to the building. And I understand there were multiple attempts. There was still work, I think, being done even after a police stop work order. I think that may be right, Amy, if there was a second one put on it.
That is correct.
Okay, so it's important.
I have one more question.
Go on.
So as of right now, nobody can go in there and work right now. It's paused, like it's on hold.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Amy.
I can't.
On the exterior, we are only dealing with the exterior. I don't know what he has discussed with the trades inspectors. As far as I know, he was having issues on the interior as well. But if he gets approval to work on the interior from the trades inspectors, he can continue with that. But as of right now, he still can't do anything on the exterior until I can write all of this information up and discuss it with him and his contractor.
Oh, okay.
Except for the painting. I did approve the painting, but there's structural issues on the front that he should look into too.
Oh, okay.
Before he paints.
All right, so I'll tell him, I'll guide him, and I'll tell him that everything is going to be written in detail, and that I don't know if it was Amy, the person before you. I don't know the person before you. I don't know her name. She said she was going to be maybe the 31st of January, something that you're going to mail written something.
Yes, I'm Amy. Yes, I'm Amy Johnson, the preservation specialist. And the city hall is closed to the public until at least the 31st. I hope not past it, but I can't set up a meeting until after that. But I will do my best to get this information out to him in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. I'll tell him.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right,
thank you for your time
for the
tonight.
time.
We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
oh,
Have a
thank
nice
you.
evening.
All right, you do the same.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I think, do we need Benny anymore then, Amy?
No, we're
Oh, okay.
the next
Because we
person.
really we didn't really need her very much, but thank you. Thanks, Benny.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good night.
All right, you do the
Thank you,
same.
Benny.
Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's do this last. Okay.
And we do have the applicant for number 3 on the line.
All right, let's see here. All right, I just want to bring up this. Okay, all right, so we're reviewing then 629 Laurel Street. And Amy, if you want to go ahead and get started, then I'll bring this application up, share it.
Sure. 629 Laurel Street is a 2.5-story brick row home built in the federal style, and it has been compromised with the application of permastone and aluminum capping at the front facade and cornice, as well as the replacement of windows and the front entrance door. The structure has retained the original stained glass transom with address above the door. The structure received a site quality rating of 66 and is a significant contributing building in the Prince Historic District. And tonight we are reviewing the work that was done in violation, consisting of the replacement of the front entrance steps. And the Secretary of the Interior standards that apply are 2, 5, and 6, of which I will read again because I don't believe the applicant was on the line until recently.
Sure.
So number 2 is the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize property shall be avoided. Number 5, distinctive features, finishes, construction techniques, or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved. And number 6, deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, or pictorial evidence.
Okay, very good. So we have an applicant with us tonight.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, if you would like to, you have a couple of minutes if you want to talk about this installation, you're welcome to. If there's anything you want to add.
As I've explained to Amy, I really don't know anything about the installation. I'm a property manager. I wasn't working the area at the time of this installation at all, so I don't have any real background on the reason why it was done.
Okay.
I really don't know. I sent her the work order. It doesn't really show a particular reason. When the owner brought this to my attention, he did not state a particular reason as to why this was done. He just said that we did the steps and look into what we need to do to correct things. So I don't really have any detail on what happened at the time, because like I said, I wasn't even working the area or responsible for, any of this even beginning or ending, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. Well, we just reviewed something very similar. You probably weren't on the phone, but our first application was something that was quite similar to this, and so hopefully we can kind of build on top of what discussion we had previous to this. So these steps look like they've been done. They're pretty weathered. They look like they were done recently, or like not that recently, but certainly this handrail looks as though was something that was done more recently. So, so Amy, this was
There hasn't been anything else done that I'm aware of in terms of the stairs there besides then.
The steps and the railing were done together.
They were, okay. All right. Just looks a little bit more weathered. Okay. And then this was a picture from what time period, Amy?
I'm not sure, but Mr. Ford had the applicant had provided that photo.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure when that's from, honestly. That's what we have in the advertising photo So it must have been done prior to, this must be from before June of 2020, before what's in there now is put in, but I don't know exactly when the picture's from.
Okay. Okay. So, so Amy, have we established then, I mean, I imagine there was probably some hand railing here. Do you think that there was, or you think that
I don't-
landing?
I don't think so, because I think the code is requires for 3 steps.
Okay,
So being that there's not a railing in that picture, I don't think that there was one originally. There is on the property next door, not that there couldn't be, but on the property next door, yeah, there is one, but they also have a porch.
they do.
on yeah.
Yep. Very similar to the other one. Okay, all right. So the board could, depending on which direction the discussion goes, there could be a return to a 2-step, likely without the requirement of a handrail, or perhaps something here could be modified and then returned to some sort of wrought iron handrail, very similar to what our first application looked like.
Correct.
So, okay, all right. Okay, so board, do you have, it sounds like the applicant that's present with us doesn't have a whole lot of background on this, but what is the board's opinion? I mean, this is still Laurel Street, right? So this isn't, is this the
Yes,
same block maybe?
it's the same one.
Side of the block.
Got it. Okay, it is the same block. Okay, all right. So probably, someone, I mean, we can have some discussion about it unless someone wants to go to a motion, if you feel that we have enough information. Obviously, the risers, these, would need to be covered. The treads they don't look as like PC as the other ones, but it still looks like a couple of boards. So we may want to be consistent with what we voted on for 604 Laurel Street in terms of installation, the direction of the board, and also the type of tread as well. And then, handrail as well, if we want to still allow the homeowner or the property owner to stay with like a 3-step configuration.
I would say we just need to kind of mimic 604, like you said. I would probably be more in favor of seeing it return to a 2-step.
Okay.
Consistent with the next door neighbor at least. And, and then also, the handrail would be, I would consider either what we had discussed before, doesn't necessarily have to be, identical to what's next door there.
Right.
Could be hollow in the center and just has the rounded wrought iron hole with the base.
Okay.
Or, like I said, even in this instance here, I don't necessarily know if with a 2-step entrance that a railing is even necessary, actually.
Right.
Can't remember if the regulation is 30 inches or I think it's 30 inches, or anything above 30 inches requires a handrail, but.
Okay. All right.
Also, I would also make sure that we, when I said that we mimic 604, then we're also talking about tongue and groove with the seams going towards the street, so.
Yep. Okay. Does anybody have any exceptions to Rick's conclusions there? Or any questions? Okay, Rick, do you want to should we just move that into change? Should we just make that language?
Motion, yes.
Okay, all right. Amy, do you want me to state that, or are you pretty clear?
Okay, I could say remove what was put in.
So it's a denial. It'll be, I'm sorry, not to interrupt, it'll be a denial for what is existing.
Denial for what is existing, yes, okay.
And then construction of 2 steps to match the configuration. It's 627.
Yes.
And then
would to be tongue and groove, it seems running towards the street. Full treads with bull nose, covered risers as well. And the handrail to be either to be optional, actually, I would say. And if we would go with a handrail, it would be wrought iron, similar to 627, but not identical, to be approved. How would we want to say that approved there, Amy?
To be approved at staff level, do you mean?
Yeah, I guess that would be fine, yeah.
Okay. And then also, do you want to include that the material should be painted as well?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good.
I'll get it right sooner or later.
Yeah. You're doing
No,
like
you're
a
doing
lot
good.
of practice tonight.
Am I
Yeah,
getting this documented, or should I be writing all this down?
No.
No. I will be writing this up in a formal resolution and then sending it to you with a formal letter.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So is there a second to Mr. Politica's motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Going to call for a vote. Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Politica.
yes.
Okay. And Ms. Walker.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. All right. Yes, Amy will document all of it. It's fairly straightforward, but the installation was not done appropriately. So we're asking that it be done in a way that is more historically appropriate. And she will spell all that out in a resolution and get that in the mail. Okay.
And just so I can be clear with the board, are you okay if I take a photograph of the other simple handrails that are in the block and use that as an example for both applicants?
Yes, that would be fine.
Thank you. But yes, I will be sending this to you via mail, so you will have everything in writing.
Okay, you make sure you have a mailing address, correct? Just want to make sure, because I mean, I'm not always in the office. I'm not in the office really at all, so I want to just make sure that I get it.
Sure. Is your mailing address, I don't have an email, one of our emails in front of me, but was it on there? Or you can just email it to me. That's fine.
Yeah, I can. It's not. I don't think it's on there, but yeah, I'll email it to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And thank
No
you
problem.
thank you for answering all of my questions and for working with us.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I mean, it was shock to me when I got it. Like, I don't know anything about this. And we don't really have a maintenance department where I could even ask those people that did the work, when you were sort of asking for materials and things like that. So
Okay.
I'm glad we were able to figure it out.
Yes, so am I. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
All
you,
right,
sir.
thank you.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right. Okay, let me pull our agenda up and we'll just keep working through that. Okay, all right, we've got staff applications. Anything noteworthy there, Amy?
No, but there, I think it's everything was in-kind work.
Yep, okay, very good. All right. Is there a motion to approve applications at staff level?
I make that motion.
Okay, Rick's on a tear here. Woo! Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Everyone else said aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, I'll take that as all ayes. All right. All right. Okay, Amy, any updates to other business?
I do not have any updates. I've been trying to, because I was out around the holidays, so I've just been focusing on catching up and working on this meeting. But I do have the July 2021 resolutions. There were only 3, and I'm kind of going to rely on Nigel for the first one. The first one was for 416, I think, yeah, 416 Douglas Street. And it was, the board had approved the installation of concrete entrance steps. And the last time I was out there, which was before Christmas, she still hadn't done the work. So I didn't know if Nigel could possibly confirm whether you've seen that that work's done or not.
Yeah,
And
I
you're-
can, I think it was done. I'm not 100%, but I'll find out tomorrow.
Okay.
have
I mean,
a meeting
I
with
can
her
look too. I didn't
I
know
have
if
a
you
meeting-
saw
I have a
anything.
meeting with her tomorrow morning, so I'll find out.
Oh, okay. The next one was 624 Laurel Street, and that was the signage for the multi-service, and I can attest that that was done, and it was, everything was, all the extra signage, everything was removed, and everything, but within the past, actually the past week, the owner of the multi-service has contacted zoning and myself, and she is moving to 119 South Fifth Street. So that application will come up to the review board probably next month. It's a row home that's never had any exterior signage. It looks like a residential row home, but it is a commercial property. So, so that's something to keep a watch for. And then the last one was for 350 South Fifth Street, where the owner was replacing a door installed in violation. It was corner entrance door, and she had found an appropriate wood and glass door within the building. The last time I was out there, it was not done, but that was quite some time ago, so I do need to look at that. And
Amy,
that's all. Yeah.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought. you
No,
were
no, no, I was done. I was done.
I have a question. Did you emailed the guy in the 800 block of Center, or is that Third? It's right on the turn. The porch fell, the
yeah.
roof.
Yes, I did email him that night, the night of our last meeting, and to my knowledge, I will look through my emails again, but I've gone over them pretty carefully in the past couple weeks. He did not respond to me.
Okay, and then there was the property in the 400 block of Douglas that painted their house black. You were gonna send them a violation notice and have them come in front of us?
I think I did send, I have to check. I sent out a slew of violations before Christmas. A couple of them have come in. I can't remember if that one was part of it, honestly. If it wasn't, I will send a letter. I know it's in my stack of ones to do. I can honestly say that. I had to send out, it takes me some time to write these violation letters and actually do everything, because I do, as you know, I do everything myself. So I got out the most egregious ones, which some of them we've taken care of tonight. But if I didn't send it, I will send it.
Okay.
Amy, what do you think our next step should be with the property in the 800 block center?
Well, the board in the discussion was told him that he needed to get a contractor and provide a scope of work. And then with the help of Aaron, I did that. I provided him several names. And he, he said, all he said was, I think, thank you. And I know it takes some time to contact these well, not to contact them, but to get the contractors to actually look at them. I mean, I can attest to that. I hear it all the time that they can't get the contractors out there to even look at the property. So I can also check with, there's a property maintenance inspector that's also working on this, the issues, so I can check with him. Maybe he's had some contact with the property owner. I don't know offhand. I did not check before the meeting.
Okay. All right. What I want to do is, I mean, I don't want to single the property owner out, as an example. Nevertheless, I do feel as though as a board, we need to continue to put some pressure on him. And, you can say that it's come up again in the next meeting, we didn't get any response, and, the board is growing concerned about the fact that we've provided everything you're required to work through. Please, please let us know what action you've taken so far so that we understand what action there is. But I do think that that we do need to keep some pressure on this applicant. Again, I'm not trying to single him out or making an example. We don't typically do that, but this was an egregious long-term neglect of this property, and one that is highly visible through a pretty major artery through the city and through the Center Park Historic District. And there's concern that the condition of the building is continuing to deteriorate, and we've seen no action whatsoever from him that indicates that he's serious about correcting this problem. So if you could do that, just, follow up, just jump right up back on top of that email.
I'll resend my email. I'll forward it to him again, just to save me some time. So I'll do that, and I'll see if he responds, and I'll check with the PMI to see if they've had any discussions with him, and I'll talk with the PMI to see what we can do to get him to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they did take him to court already, so I wouldn't be against doing that. And to piggyback what Aaron was saying, it's our 40th anniversary this year, and we have tons of events and donations that are coming in, and I have to answer to these people all the time about what's going on with this property. So, it's pretty bad. So thank you, Amy.
Yeah, no, and I'll send an email to Building and Trades and PMI, the PMI inspector, just noting that Center Park is having their 40th anniversary, and we want to keep on him and make sure that the work is that he's actually going to be doing something.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any
forward.
numbers. Sounds like she knows more than I'm not, and I didn't speak with the PMI, so I don't know if he's been taken to court or not. But if you heard that, then I hope he has been. That and that process can take a while too. Unfortunately, it's very frustrating because if the judge keeps continuing it, and then they keep languishing and not doing the work, and then the judge continues it, it's extremely frustrating for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, it was brought up at one of our meetings that he was taken to court, and I think it was because the process. He was trying to get a hold of you, and nothing was. He tried to get a hold of you a couple times, and then it just went into the court system through PMI because I think it was with Tanya Butler. Yeah.
That's who it would be. I'm not aware of him trying to contact me. I've had no emails.
The very beginning. The very
beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you mean he went to court? He hasn't been to court recently. He was in court in the beginning.
It happened during the summer, so a couple months ago.
Okay.
I think it was continued. It was continued because he needed to get in touch with you and start the process with you. So if he's not responding, maybe like when you talk to the PMI or the building inspectors, whoever, he might have another court date coming up, depending on, the process. And if he has not contacted you back, that's good reason to head back to court.
Right. Okay, no, I can check on all of that.
Okay, anything else then relative to violations?
No.
Nope. Okay. All right, very good. Okay. Are there any updates from committees? Let me keep scrolling through here. No updates on committees. Don't forget that Ms. Johnson's still looking for preservation commendations. And and Amy, you already went through the reports and the resolutions from June. You did that already, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Or July rather. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. And then next month, if you could include in the agenda just officer appointments as well.
Oh, I was thinking about that tonight, so thank you.
Yeah. Next month is fine. We usually get around to it like February anyway. So
yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's everything. Is there anything else from anyone? Nope. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Right. Opposed? None. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for keeping up with the meeting and appreciate everyone's contribution. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank
So
you.
long.
Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. All right, bye-bye.